Hello, BookTube. I've got a little mail for you today on an absolutely beautiful, temperate, wonderful Friday. Just a perfect, perfect day. Made all the more thrown into relief of perfection by the fact that it looks like a large, massive rain is coming this way. I think it's probably going to rain on and off all weekend. I don't think we'll see a blue sky, warm, sunny day like this until next week sometime. Uh, so it made the day all the better, just all the better. I was out walking with my little bean, and we were walking around in the peace and quiet of completely deserted suburban streets, just cul-de-sacs everywhere, streets and gardens and trees everywhere, and just kept going. We just kept wandering. There was nothing calling on either one of us, and there was no punitive wind or rain or cold, so it was very nice. But I have some mail. We've got some packages, we've got a box, and we've got one periodical. But it's not just any periodical. It's Architectural Digest. And for those of you who are maybe new to the channel, Architectural Digest is a big, square-bound, glossy American magazine designed to show you how the 1% lives, what their houses and apartments look like. And on this channel, I've fallen into the habit of walking through every issue, because not all of you take Architectural Digest, uh, and showing some of the highlights and some of the lowlights. And the lowlight, thematically, for this issue runs all throughout and is one of the best arguments I have ever seen against the existence of a moral God. Or moral gods. It's one of the best arguments I've ever seen against that. Because this, believe it or not, is a sustainability issue. The theme running through this issue, according to the editors, is sustainability, which is just about as big a blasphemy as I can imagine when it comes to a magazine devoted to third houses occupying 500 square feet and employing a staff of 5 terrified, undocumented aliens in order to have one unmarried couple stay there 1 week out of the year. To call that, to show you an issue full of places like that and call it sustainability and not have the lightning bolts fall from heaven is amazing. So I'm going to try not to harp on that in this issue because these are not sustainable. There's nothing in here that is sustainable. Sure, you didn't back trucks up to make your third patio just the way you want it, but you're living somewhere else while this 500 square feet of property is left empty but tended with air conditioning and water bills and gardener bills and whatnot. So there's none of this here is even remotely sustainable in any real sense of the word. It's not that kind of sustainability that we're talking about here. It's feel-good sustainability. Do I feel good about myself? Did I use, I don't know, secondhand wood for the 4th parquet floor? Did I do that? And if I did, well, then I can feel good about myself. That's not sustainability in any sense of the word that is that's not sustainability in any sense of the word that is going to make sense to this. Look at that. That ad is in a magazine whose theme is sustainability. Do you see anything in that is sustainable? No. No. That is 2 years away from being water. Just unimpeded water. There's nothing sustainable in there. All those places are here today and literally gone tomorrow. That very area, wherever it is, where is it? Does it tell me? Miami. It's on the outskirts of Miami. It's probably going to get hit by 3 named Category 5 hurricanes this year alone. But I said I wouldn't harp on it, so we won't. Instead, the typical issue of Architectural Digest, the front half of it is discoveries, which are little accent pieces, things that didn't warrant a whole article, and also profiles of people. Profiles of people with sustainable environments like that. And then you've also got enormously expensive ads, just gigantic ads that are meant to advertise things like I think that this is actually an ad for staircase design, not for this house, but rather for the people who put in this staircase, which is hideous and dangerous. And again, the yardstick that you want to use for anything in any issue of Architectural Digest is not how the hoi polloi will like it or pretend that they like it, but how my frenemy Deb and I will like it. Will Deb and I get along with what you're looking at? Are we going to get along with this? Floating stairs that aren't attached to anything? Handrails that aren't attached to anything? No, we're not. In fact, we're going to start falling up here and just fall all the way down to the bottom. We won't be hurt because bumbles bounce, but still, that's not the way you build a staircase. Also, is that a wine cellar? Is that where you want your bottles of wine? Are they supposed to be touched? No, clearly not. When wine bottles are not only supposed to be touched, they're supposed to be emptied as rapidly as possible. The front section of the paper is ads like that, including sometimes ads for things that are not architectural. They will just be accents in your architecture. Like this gallery has a John Singer Sargent for sale. Lake Garda, I think that is. Yeah, Lake Garda. This is $165,000. You can buy a John Singer Sargent painting, one of his travel paintings that he did. Or you could buy yourself a nice comfy chair. Doesn't that just say sit on me? Doesn't it just invite? But the back half of the magazine, once you're done with all of these preposterous ads, the back half of the magazine is see, here you've got kids decor, an ad for kids decor, and if you're not catching this in the dodgy light, those are live rabbits in this kid's room, which might have been fine for my Deb, but it isn't fine for anybody else. or this furniture designer. This ad campaign clearly meant to show that their furniture designs are also accessible to non-humans. Whatever those things are, I have no idea. But that is not sustainable. That is the third act of a Chinese disaster movie with a tsunami coming right here like that. And those movies are only a year or two away from being reality. It'll happen more gradually, but it'll happen. And everything in here is just waterfront properties that are totally unsustainable now, much less in 10 years. But the back half of every issue is full-length home designs, where we get a full profile of homes. Like, for instance, this first one is an adjoining pair of Brooklyn houses, of Brooklyn apartments. So they're adjoined. I'm not sure. I wasn't really clear from the article whether or not they're adjoined interiorly, but they were built as a row. So you get these very tall, airy spaces there that have no human dimensions to them at all. They have no desire to appeal to humans. They have no books, of course. They have no livability. Look at that. Would you want to live there? You wouldn't even want to film a science fiction show there. And of course, as you saw from the cover, this place in Brooklyn we also get a feature of their bathroom. That is the bathroom. So you've got a shower that'll do a natural shower waterfall there, and you've got the rest of the bathroom here. And the floors are cantilevered gently down towards the drain, which is good, because this painting pattern is going to cause you vertigo, which is going to make you throw up. And that will mean that the liquid parts of your vomit will just drain naturally away, and Alejandro can clean up the rest before you have him deported because he looked at you funny. And you've got, this house has all sorts of little nooks and crannies, but they're all dehumanized. They're all sanitized to the point where there's no livability. It's just for a photo shoot. You've also got another killer staircase. I know these are still floating stairs, but at least they're grounded on something. But it's still a killer staircase because the rungs of the banister are not going down. They're going sideways to point towards the stairs, which is going to cause me and Deb to get disoriented, which means we are going to roll bounce all the way down the stairs to the floor. So it was a clever design, sure. It was a clever idea. And then we've got something in Kyoto, which almost struck me as being human. This is the outside with the typical tangle of power lines, but it's such a small space. I guarantee you, I know for a fact because I've been in them, I guarantee you there are apartment spaces in Kyoto that are so much nicer than this, and not nice in the frou-frou way, but nice in the livability way, more inviting than this. This is the owners here just managed to make this look horrible, dark and horrible, like you were living inside your own coffin. Perhaps typified best by the fact that the copy in the magazine refers to the bedroom as the sleeping quarters. Like you were on the Orient Express. These are sleeping quarters. That's not your bedroom. But there, well, we move on. We'll move on to Belgium, to a couple in Belgium who've reconverted a farmhouse. Nothing sustainable about this at all. They have a cute little swimming pool / canal in their backyard, off the main house, off the spare house, off the garden house, off the shed, off the servants' quarters. Nothing. This is profligate waste. They did it up nice, I guess, is the way they would say it. I pined looking at these exteriors. Just look at the physicals. Obviously, it's incredibly barbaric and tone deaf to put an animal hide on the floor to walk on. But try for a minute to see just the bare bones of this, as opposed to the egregious ways that's being misused. The one of the owners said, "I'm theme obsessed. Once the theme is known, it gives structure and limits possibilities." You got that right, bub. At the end of the project, I know harmony will be present. So I'm assuming this is not finished yet, because there's certainly no harmony there. But look at this gorgeous low ceilings. Look at that lovely little window. Imagine what could be done with this space. Oh, that just kills me. You'd have to get rid of everything. All the dumb tchotchkes, all the furniture. You have to get rid of everything, just strip it out. But what a room, what a space. And we're going to see the epitome of what a space. We're going to see the epitome of a lost opportunity a little later on. We have a property on the Hudson River where we are seeing the lovely stuff that has been done to the garden. There is an old stone house in the garden. We very pointedly are not shown the house belonging to this garden, I'm sure, because it's a hideous monument to non-sustainability. If the owners, the very, very gay owners, all the people in here are very, very gay. That's why their children, they view their children as fashion accessories. That's why all the children's accessories are so hideously inhuman. Because, but anyway, if that were where they lived, with seasonal flowers growing on the roof, that might be one thing. Then we might be able to talk. But that's not where they live. That's not even where the help lives. That's just where the tools are. Okay, then we have an article about an art curator who's, of course, named Cooper, so we can skip that. But then we have something that was bound to happen. Looking through Donahue Does Decor, this was bound to happen. We were bound to encounter a property that I have actually set foot in. You'll notice, if you've been paying attention to Donahue Does Decor for the last year or two, we almost never see anything in Boston. But I have been in lots of places other than Boston, and I am almost certain I have been inside this next property, only not the way it looks now. The new owners came in years ago and tore it to pieces and filled it with bad taste. This is in Manhattan, and it's way up above the streets. I think I know exactly where this is. They of course don't give you the address, and they don't show you the exterior. They don't want these people to be haunted. But I'm pretty sure that I know the space here. I think I know what I'd be looking on if I looked out. There's a tiny little balcony right there. I think I know what I'd be looking at if I looked out that balcony. And they tore it apart and made it taffy candy colored. They removed all. If this is the place that I was in, this was once real. They kept this in the article. They call this chandelier an accent piece. I wanted to throw up. But they got rid of everything else. And if I remember correctly, this was once just what it should be. Heavy, homey, solid, not all this. I want bright periwinkle blue so that it'll accent the light. I want the stair to be curved rather than wooden. I don't want it to be standing on anything. I want it to be free floating, and I want it to be white to accent the light. That doesn't work, and all it ends up doing. I mean, look at this. Look at that dining space. Utterly ridiculous. If I remember correctly, it once looked wonderful. And very much doesn't anymore. And the thing that led me to wonder if I was here, the thing that makes me think that I have been inside this space years ago, when it belonged to its previous owners, is the one thing that you can't change. If I'm looking at a 4-poster bed that you bought on IKEA, well, I can't be sure of that. But the one thing you can't change is exteriors. And there is an exterior. That is the lunch patio. Now, that building wasn't there when I was there, and neither was this one, and neither was that one in the distance. But I think I know where this is. And if I'm right, nothing was kept the same here. The patio was once someplace where you could go and, actually spend time as a person, as an adult. Look at this. Look at that. Just, what are you trying to make it look like? This living room. What are you trying to make it look like? Your beach house? Oh, God help us imagine. But there's a space here. If I'm right, then the current owners destroyed this space. They didn't destroy it enough so that you can't see how wonderful it is, but they did their best. This space right here, this little alcove. Right now you can see it's got the swing open windows, these pair of windows with a curve on that you can see from the street. It's got curtains that you can draw on the inside, but also the glass is glazed so that you don't need the curtains to block out visual light to be seen. It's inset from the rest of the hallway. Somebody put a dresser drawer here, and you've got curtains that you can pull across the front so that you can just button yourself up in curtains all around. And it's neat and cozy. It's got a little table here with a book that is certainly not being read by the people who posed this picture. But once upon a time, this was nicer, much nicer. And if I remember correctly, the bed was 5 or 6 inches closer to you, and the space in between on either side of the window was not these dumb frou-frou curtains, because, again, you don't need them. The glass is glazed. The only way that you would be seeable is if you open these windows, which is wonderful to do in the summer. Just open up the windows. You won't get insects up that high. So you just open up the windows. The most you'll get is probably a bird visiting and maybe getting into the place. But if I remember this correctly, the original version didn't have these frou-frou curtains. Instead, it had bookshelves on either side here. Still a day bed. This is actually a bed, not a day bed. But there was a day bed here. And it was a wonderful spot. It is still a wonderful spot to sit and read. I would change a lot of it. I'd get rid of these frou-frou windows and put bookcases on either side of the window here. I'd get rid of this dresser drawer, just ridiculous. But I might keep the heavy curtains on the outside to block off the space for a nice, secluded feeling. I might do that. And then the last article here upset me in a way that the others didn't. This is a couple, a very, very gay couple, who has a houseboat on the Seine outside of Paris, I think. And there they are. That's the houseboat. And we get the interiors, which are very much designed not to look like they're inside a vessel of any kind. They're very much designed to look like they are. You've got a 10-ton bathtub with clawed feet in a boat. They're very much designed to look like you're not inside a boat. And that's okay. That's a decision you can make. The thing that bothered me is in the title where the houseboat is referred to as shipshape. That is not shipshape. It's not shipshape at all. I'm amazed that it doesn't sink simply in the wake made by this speedboat. But it certainly could not. It is not shipshape in any way. It's not, but there you go. That is Architectural Digest. We had one close call. That little nook with a day bed and a window overlooking, I'm pretty sure I know what it's overlooking. That space, just breaks my heart. Especially if I'm right and I've actually stood in that space. But anyway, let's move on to the mail. Now that we've done Donahue Does Decor, let's see what we have here. Keep in mind, we are not calling this a haul. I don't need to call in my reserve troops to win at the Haul Wars that are roiling BookTube. I don't need to do that. So what have we got here? I've got a pub sheet. That's good. This comes out in June. Angle this so we don't block the baby. This is One Final Turn by Ashley Weaver. Ooh, Ashley Weaver. Very good. This is an Electra McDonald novel. And we've seen some of these novels are on this channel before. The reason why that the O in one is the knob of a safe will become obvious. This is a terrific ongoing series. I'm hoping that this title doesn't mean that it's the end of the series. We've had too many beloved mystery series coming to an end. Let's see. I'm excited to be introducing the thrilling conclusion to the Electra McDonald series. Oh no. Oh. In this fifth installment, Safecracker, that's the thing, Ellie embarks on a mission across war-torn Europe to Lisbon, Portugal. Yes, thanks, darling. We know where Lisbon is. To rescue a group of escaped POWs, including her cousin Toby. The fifth and final installment in the Electra McDonald series brings Safecracker Ellie on a mission across World War II Europe. She's about to embark on her most perilous mission yet, to save her beloved cousin Toby, who has reportedly escaped from a German prisoner of war camp. Toby has been missing since the Battle of Dunkirk, and Ellie has all but lost hope of ever seeing him again, until Major Ramsey, fans of the series are big fans of Major Ramsey, the British intelligence officer she had been working closely with over the past few months, shared the news he's intercepted. Nothing will stop her from finding her cousin, not even the awkward experience of having to travel to an unknown country with Ramsey after he dismissed her for being untrustworthy just as she realized she'd fallen in love with him. Under the supervision of Captain Archie Blandings, the charming intelligence officer based in Lisbon, Ellie meets the undercover operatives to track down where Toby might be hiding from the Nazis and whether they are too late to safely recover him. I'm in an odd position here because I've been saying for years, I'm just checking for blurbs, of course, and I'm liberally blurbed here. Good. I've been saying for years that murder mysteries ought to have a termination date. That it's unrealistic when the same characters and counting dead body after dead body after dead body. But even so, and I do stick to that, but even so, when it's a series that I really like, maybe one more adventure. We've seen Maisie Dodds, Maggie Hope, and now the Electra, all hanging up their togs in the last calendar year. Oh. Anyway, this comes out in June. It'll be one more thing to do, one last romp. Hoping that Ashley Weaver doesn't kill her off. She finds true love instead. Readers of the series have known forever who her true love is. But anyway, let's move on to the next one here before we get to the box. We've got a finished copy here. Something. What have we here? Oh, okay. We've already seen this. This is the finished copy of a debut novel called Circular Motion. I think this might be late getting to me. Are you late getting? No, May 13th, mid-May. The nice thing about the finished copy is that we'll be able to see what the author looks like. There'll be an author photo here, I hope. So let's see here. His breathtaking debut. Okay, this is Circular Motion. Very nice cover design. It's a brilliantly imagined literary novel of love, despair, and two people's search for belonging in a world that is literally spinning out of control. Any of you remember this? I think I called it carpet bagging. The acceleration of Earth's spin begins gradually. At first, days are just a few seconds shorter than normal. Awareness of the mysterious phenomenon hasn't reached Tanner, a young man preoccupied with dreams of escaping his tiny Alaskan hometown. One night, desperate to make his mark on the world, he runs away. He lands an unlikely job at CWC, a global operator of a network of massive aircraft that orbit the Earth at 30,000 feet, revolutionizing global transportation. Now goods and people can travel anywhere in little more than an hour. You can visit Paris for an evening and order sushi from Japan. But just as Tanner settles into his new life and begins to consider if his feelings for a male colleague might be more than platonic, CWC is shaken by a wave of social unrest and protest. That unrest sweeps up Winnie. High school outcast in an era of street protests, wild parties, and online savagery, Winnie falls in with a group of teen activists who blame CWC for the planet's acceleration. As days on Earth quicken to 23 hours, then 20, the sun is rising and setting ever faster, causing violent storms and political meltdowns. Tanner and Winnie's stories spiral closer together. They meet cynical executives toiling to forestall the crises they have created, and religious zealots for whom the apocalypse can't come soon enough. 23 3-hour days, 2-hour days. Okay. So it's a modern contemporary piece of literary fiction about upper middle class Connecticut divorce that is wearing a skin suit of science fiction. It's not a science fiction novel about Earth's rotation slowing or speeding. would look through the lens of the science fiction into the broader lens of social implications and characters. And carpetbagging fiction, as I tend to call it, Margaret Atwood style fiction, speculative fiction, starts with the social stuff, starts with the broader things, and needs the science fiction. I need to haul in something. I don't know in this case, we'll be able to tell from the author's bio, but usually it's written by people who do not read science fiction and who've never really read it and just think it might be handy. So who is Alex Foster when he's at home? He received his MFA from the New York University, yes, because show me a debut novel where the writer does not have an MFA. And at New York University, he served as fiction editor of Washington Square Review. He now edits books at Henry Holt and Company and Metropolitan. His short stories have appeared in Agni, The Common, Evergreen Review, and elsewhere. Previously, he studied economics at the University of Chicago and conducted research for the U.S. government and for the World Bank's Gender Innovation Lab in West Africa. And this is his first novel. And the pub sheet actually has a small list of events that he will be going to. When we did mail hauls 5 years ago, every pub sheet came with a long list of dozens of events that the author was going to go to. Then the pandemic stopped all of that. And now so what are you doing? You're doing Greenlight Books in Brooklyn. You're doing the Harvard Bookstore across the river here in Cambridge. Secret World Books in Highland Park. No politics and prose? That's kind of odd. Anyway, let's take a gander at this guy. Okay, he's very young. And as me sainted Ma would have said, it'd kill you to smile. maybe he's all bummed out by having a debut novel. And then we get to the box. It's very light, so it might be just a case of a publicist having, a paperback that they need to they want to get it in the mail, and the nearest piece of packaging is a box, even though it doesn't require a box. Oh no, this might not be a publicist at all. This is packed a little strange. This is packed a little excessively. Oh, and it's got packing peanuts. Yeah, this is definitely not from a publisher. It's got packing peanuts. What have we got here? Oh. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh. Okay, it's almost impossible to keep. It's food. Who is this from? Oh, it's from Janet Wertman. The Tudor historical novelist Janet Wertman has sent freeze-dried salmon treats for dogs. I've never had salmon, have you? These things, which I recognize these. Peeps. These little Peeps. I'm assuming that's Janet's play on words for my affection for Samuel Pepys, for the Diaries of Samuel Pepys. And then the real payoff here. I have never figured out how to eat marshmallows. I've never figured out their appeal. But Mega Stuff Oreos? Mega Stuff Oreos, I know perfectly well. I know just how to eat them. And this is almost one serving. So, how wonderful. All right, so we've got some food. I will try these salmon-based treats on the baby as soon as the opportunity presents itself. Also, a nice letter. She, on our walk this afternoon, she shook down her mailman, who is the most popular person in the neighborhood up on the hill because he carries treats with him, so all the dogs know him. And she knows him, so she shook him down for a treat. But that's it. So we've got food. Very nice to get food. And no rule against sending Mega Stuff Oreos. None at all. There's a rule against sending me books unsolicited. But Mega Stuff Oreos are always welcome. In fact, how many of you have the opportunity and never indulge in it? How many times are you out food shopping with your significant other, your girlfriend or your boyfriend, your husband or your wife? You know perfectly well that one of you dotes on my every word and would never miss a video, and the other one not only doesn't watch my videos, but doesn't really understand who this weird old guy is. They're constantly hearing this old guy's voice from across the bed or across the living room, and they don't really understand it. They think there might be something a little bit malevolent about it. you do your food shopping together. So what I want you all to do the next time that happens and you're there with that Steve non-believer, I want you to put a couple of packages of Mega Stuffed Oreos in the cart. And when your significant other says, "What's this for? You don't have a sweet tooth. You don't eat Mega Stuffed Oreos." I want you to assume a glassy-eyed expression. Even more glassy-eyed than usual when you're forced to be around them and their nonstop chatter. Am I right? Up top. I want you to assume a glassy-eyed expression and say, "Steve commands it." But we also have fiction, a debut novel and the end of a series. So, did I say the debut novel? Yeah, it's May. It's May, so it's a while away. I've got time for both of these. So there you go. There's some mail for your Friday, for a beautiful picturesque Friday. I'll wrap this up, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.